Proplanner's assembly planner tool allows the users to define the contents of a work instruction. The contents are defined on an entity called activity, as is shown on the screen here. The activity is key for us, and this is where we go in and define the images tied to the work instructions, steps required for the work instructions, tools necessary for the work instructions to be completed, and finally parts that are required to be consumed by the operator while performing this work. All of this data can simply be printed as a report and generated and distributed to the shop floor, or this data can be published to the shop floor viewer to be viewed on devices such as tablets, desktops, and so on. The requirement for the operator to be truly hands-free on the shop floor while viewing these work instructions is becoming more and more evident. In order to make this a true hands-free experience, wearables such as Google Glass and RealWear are becoming really popular at the shop floor. Proplanner has now partnered with Proceedix, who specializes in the technology of displaying data on wearables, thus making it possible for Proplanner work instructions to be shown on the shop floor in a hands-free device such as Glass or RealWear. How does that data relate? All of this information that we have defined at the activity level, image, steps, tools, and parts, are sent to Proceedix as cards. There's a card for the activity description with the image. There's a card for each of the work steps with images. There can be a card for all the tools, all the parts, as a list that the operator has to work on, or just a list of steps that the operator needs to perform. Once all the data is created, we simply need to publish it to Proceedix. By publishing, we are tracking the models that we are sending to Proceedix, the stations, the lines. We are also tracking the dates when this data is being published and who is reviewing this data on the shop floor. This gives the Proplanner publishing the knowledge of what data is being published and what data is being reviewed, thus making the process of publishing intelligent and only publishing the data that is necessary for that particular station operator combination. We call this the competency matrix. By having a history of everything that is being reviewed on the shop floor, Proplanner is able to selectively send data that's necessary for that operator based on their experience and based on the model that is being published on the line. The next step is to simply put on your glass, scan your QR code to identify where you are, and begin looking at work instructions. Since we're using a device such as Google Glass or RealWear, we are allowed to talk to it, thus making the process completely hands-free. There's no keyboard or any other input required. And finally, the device such as Glass allows us to take pictures and videos, thus making a very rich experience for the operator to report issues on the shop floor. Okay, Glass, run Proceedix. Once inside Proceedix, simply scan in a QR code to identify the station and position the operator is at, and that will then pull up a list of units to be built for that day. We will now proceed to show how the work instructions are pulled in based on the unit selection.
Select item 1. Proceed. Next card. Next card. Next card. Next card. Next card. Next card. Proceed. Proceed.